Do you know what I like? I like boys. I like young, yummy, smooth, delicious, hairless boys with tight little... And I also like hell. Hellboy. It's got all my favourite things. Hell and yummy, yummy, tasty, delicious boys. All wrapped up in one red man. Of course, at the start of the comic, they find him as a boy, or do they find him or discover him, or does he find them? So Hellboy is relevant, and of course that's the nickname given to him by the army or whatever from where he comes. Now, speaking of comes, I used to fucking despise Hellboy. The art, specifically, I hated the art of Hellboy. I was young, I was dumb, and I apologise. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the things I've done and also did not do. But I'd seen the film. It's a major motion picture. It's actually 3 now, but the third one is, I saw the film. I think I saw the second film, and then I was like, oh, that looks cool. I hear it's a comic. I'll search it up. And I looked in my local bookstore and I found the comic books. And I saw the art style and I thought, what the bloody wank is this? What a piece of shit. What fucking... Why am I going to pay money to read a comic book with fucking stupid, boring, plain... basic looking artwork like this? Where's all the 90s fucking metal arms and huge guns with 8 barrels and pouches everywhere and fucking warp blasts and spaceships and superheroes in tight underwear and fucking girls' big tits and all that shit? Where's all that? It's Hellboy. I saw the film. It should be big and action packed and there should be fucking guns and fucking shit everywhere. And then I find all this, like, heavy black shadow and, details here and there, but basically no detail. And I thought, why? This is dull and uninteresting and boring. What a load of tosh. It's what I thought. As a young'un, as a delicious young boy. Oh, I must have cut something on there. But I grew up. And I wasn't a boy anymore. Arguably, I'm still dumb, but I'm older. My tastes are more refined, yeah? And I've now grown to realise Mike Mignola, the guy who made Hellboy, is actually a fucking genius. I go on about Ashley Wood being, he's so good. He only shows you what you need to see, and he uses the most basic building blocks of comic creation, and he sets out his pages perfectly. But then Mignola is like also a genius, I guess. But not necessarily in a different way, but in terms of maybe world building. Because, like, Ashley Wood is good at just drawing shit. And, my book's breaking. That's brilliant. But then Mike Mignola creates fucking a whole believable world with atmosphere. Atmosphere is a big thing. Ashley Wood does atmosphere well, and he uses light and shadow. I guess Ashley Wood and Mike Mignola have similarities. But we're not talking about fucking Ashley Wood. Who's that? Australian. Some Australian fuck with a foot fetish. Fuck that guy. That bearded twat. I love you, Ashley Wood. This is about Mike Mignola. Fuck, look at that shit. Look. Okay, so you got Hellboy is fighting a werewolf, and he's got this pole with a crucifix on the end of it. And then he's, obviously crucifixes, werewolves, something. So he's been bashing him. It's all bent out of shape, and he's got all these, like, lacerations and indentations from the bloodied crucifix. That's so fucking good, man. Light and shadow is a huge part of Mike Mignola Hellboy artwork. This isn't meant to be a fucking essay, a video essay about what makes Hellboy so fucking good. It's just supposed to be, look, that's cool. Look, that's cool too. Designs for Abe Sapien. That's like a more of a fish man. And one thing I really do like about Hellboy, the art thereof, is it crosses over into like it's really coming apart. That's kind of annoying. A Lovecraftian sort of vibe, more so than almost any other art I've seen. You know, you can draw Lovecraft, you can draw tentacles, you can draw weird, unspeakable horrors, quote unquote. But Mike Mignola, when he does it, like Shadow over Innsmouth, that's a story with some fish people in it. You know, it's not this is the best fish person drawing ever. But Mike Mignola captures something, like the shape with the low shoulders and stuff, and the sort of hunched look to the figure, and the way the weight's all distributed across the form, even in just a doodle like that. It's really brilliant, and he carries that through to the rest of his work fucking marvelously. But Hellboy specifically, I think one of the things that makes Hellboy great is stuff like this, actually. Folklore. There's so much folklore. Like, he takes actual real, rather than the word real, he takes actual existing folklore, tales that people have told for generations and generations. Across the entire world, there's, you know, English and Irish folklore, fucking Nordic, I don't know if that's the right term, but whatever, folklore, you know, Hungarian, I think, maybe, Russian, all kinds of fairy tales and folklore, and he takes them and kind of distills them down and uses parts of them that you wouldn't necessarily think to use if you'd read a fairy tale. There's parts of it you wouldn't necessarily bother with putting into a story, but Mike Mignola takes certain aspects and sort of melds them together and puts them into this world where a guy has come out of hell. This red guy has come out of hell. So elements like this, his storytelling is so perfect with that sort of idea of folklore. World building, similar, I guess, in terms of like, to be completely different from this, Mad Max Fury Road. You watch it, and unless you're a fucking idiot, you don't ask questions. You get, like, I can't remember what they call them, the boys with the shaved heads and all their shit and the chrome spray in their mouths. You see all that and you accept it as the world that's created. You don't go, oh, why do they have all the steering wheels? Why are they spraying chrome? Why do they yell witness me? You go, oh, okay, they've got their own sort of lore going on. They've got their own, you know, folklore and fairy tales and stuff. Hellboy does that as well. So, like this, there's no words apart from these ones. He's at this. He's looking for, you know, a baby, evidently. So he's at this old gallows, I guess, with a broken rope, and it creaks. And there's a real sense of space and time here. He looks at his watch. His watch hits, what is that, like 3 a.m. or something? Tick. And he looks, and then at that certain time, at this certain gallows, this certain rope, the hangman appears and points him in the direction he needs to go, where he finds these 3 imp characters carrying a corpse, doing something, and he inquires about a baby he's looking for that's been stolen by another imp-like character. And that's all given to you without explaining, I need to go to this gallows. Like, there are comics and films that would say, they'd have a person talking to Hellboy saying, okay, Hellboy, you have to go to this fucking forested area, this hill, this gallows at this time, and then if you wait at just the right second and look up at the rope will turn into a hanging man, and the hanging man will point you in the direction of the thing. It's just told in this one page. And that's what's fucking brilliant. And that's the storytelling, that's the world building that Mignola does with Hellboy. That's not to mention the fact that he draws so fucking well. Like, Jesus, come on, Christ. I could literally just flip through this book because it's the art of Hellboy, and then that would be the video. It might even be better without me fucking rambling over the cunt on top of it. But just very, very stylised. And if you look back through Mignola's work, he's done, you know, superhero comics, X-Men, there's Batman one, or I guess a bunch of Batman ones. If you look through those, you can see he gets more and more and more Mignola style as they go on. And even from like early Hellboy into late Hellboy, which we will look at shortly, tearing apart, my book's tearing apart. The Lovecraftian horror. Like, I can't say exactly, I can't pinpoint, say, this is the reason this works. But something about the way he draws it, where he puts the shadows and how much shadow he uses gives weight and stuff. And that's such a bizarre shape. Like, you're used to bizarre shit with Hellboy because it's fucking Hellboy. And then you see something like this and it's a whole other fucking thing. He's just really good at drawing, I guess. When you see his pencil sketches, there you go. Fucking unknown beast, horror, Batman. But you can see how, like, a younger, maybe less well-versed idiot child drawer guy would look at something like this and not like it, because the hands, they're not really brilliantly drawn hands, but it's about shapes and proportions and layouts and stuff. Like, there's movement and there's the light and the shadow and it's fucking good, man. And his comics work brilliantly in black and white. Because the way he uses contrast between the black and white and stuff. His inking is brilliant, but then he uses colour in such a great way as well. Dark blues and purples, the yellow of the candlelight, and then red Hellboy in the middle. It's just, and it's such a nice, like, low orangey red, so it doesn't blend in, but like it fits the tone of it. It's not like a glaring fucking cadmium red or anything. But that's something I personally need to work on. Like, my colour work is usually painted, and I find with most of it, if I, hit desaturate on Photoshop or whatever, go all black and white, it becomes just this grey page where I differentiate things with colours. But then in terms of tone, it's all basically the same tone. So that's why it's good to, what a lot of painters do, is they work in either a sepia tone or black and white to first get the values of light and shadow and contrast in the piece to make sure the bits you need to stand out. And then you go in with colour on top of that, which is something I'd probably stand to do more of. Whereas I just go colour, and then it all looks kind of muddy in a way. But you get someone like Mignola, who, this giant fucking worm thing, a little funny guy there, the colours and the contrast, it's all perfect. Because he's just fucking good, isn't he? And he's even, his watercolours, so nice, where he's got Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, I think that's what that is. Because Hellboy can wield Mjolnir, and why not? He's the fucking king of the underworld. Give him a fucking hammer. Jesus. These drawings are great. Like, yeah, I get, not in minimalism necessarily, but just showing you what you need to see. And there's a bright flash of light, so you wouldn't be able to see details in the background and stuff. And it's the subtle elements he puts in as well, just like fish head there, the moon, fish. But it's really fucking good, innit? Let's look at another book, because, okay, actually these are good as well. Yeah, his pencil drawings are really fucking cool too. Everything's so definite, like Hellboy has a definite weight to him. And the world he inhabits is also, like, fucking perfect, man. That's what all of these videos boil down to, is me going, oh, look, this is cool. This is really fucking cool. This is the 20th anniversary book, which is, a lot of it is the same stuff I just showed in that art of book. but you know, it's still good shit. Still fucking good shit to look at. That's cool to see, actually, the mock-ups and then the actual thing. But in watercolour, I get if you know about painting and art, composition and whatever, that's fucking good. The colours, it's all washes and stuff. Yellow going into the grey, and you know, greys and yellows on him, and then the red, just Hellboy right there. And he uses almost, I guess there's like iconography you use in art. Like if you, not all the time, but most of the time, if you draw a telephone, you draw like what you know to be the shape of a telephone, or nowadays a rectangle. And I was going to say a television, you draw what you know to be the shape of a television, which is again a triangle, a rectangle, fucking idiot. So when it comes to like the suckers and stuff, he's not drawing the detailed, you know, suction, sucky sucks on the tentacle, but the way he uses just circles, same with the horns on his head. It's these shapes, these icons that give the impression, that tell a story almost, just in seeing them on the page. You right away, you know what it's supposed to be. That's just circles, but in context, in composition, in style and colour, it's perfect, like storytelling in a single image. Statues and then light and fucking again, colours, man. Just really, really fucking nice. Octopus. I love it when he does that shit. Just an animal. He does that a lot with like frogs and stuff. He usually, there's relevance to it because he knows what he's doing. He knows, yeah, it's fairy tales and folklore. So if frogs are relevant to a story, there might just be one panel on a page that's literally just a frog. Squid, fish, bird. The orange, man. Dark, 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 blues, purples. Cool composition with the bird and the fish. And then the orange just spots on there. Same again there with the eye and stuff. Fish. Yeah, if you're looking at artists who compose images in a meaningful way, in an impressive way, you know, I'm not breaking new ground. I'm not putting you onto a new artist. Everyone fucking knows Hellboy. Everyone knows Mike Mignola. He's world famous and rightly so. Yeah, but I'm just saying, I like him, and I like sexy boys. And Hellboy is a sexy boy. That's great movement, great composition. Thirds. Just about. Yeah, thirds. The little bug there with the crown and the fucking signature. That's a good signature. Just the M in a box. That's not a bad one. The colours, again, just so fucking good. I got a shit. It's really, really nice. And just like contemplative. It gets very contemplative. Just scenes of flowers and stuff. Calm. Because there is a lot of action in Hellboy, and he draws it really, really well. That's fucking cool. Lighting on there. And it can be really hard if you're trying to do like, several light sources at once, reflected light or whatever, rim lighting. It can be really hard to make them blend from like, so usually you'd have, your mid-tone and then a thin patch of shadow and then the reflected light as the two light sources sort of cross over. So it can be really difficult to sort of blend those three together. And then doing it in such a bold way is almost more difficult because you have to be so sure that it's going to work or you could just fuck it up completely. And he does it so perfectly because it's all just believable shapes. He knows exactly where to put the shadows to meet the planes of the surfaces and the cool orange goggles and shit. Fox, it's brilliant. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. So this is one of the earlier comics, book 3, The Chained Coffin and Others. A lot of this takes part in the newer film, which does have its good parts. The whole Baba Yaga thing. This character is in the film. I think they did the character well. It's just the film overall fucking stunkaroo. These action scenes, there you go, perfect. I love that he doesn't usually use like action lines, like big swooshing lines. All the debris, as you can see, it's being pushed away from its source by this giant creature. Whack. He uses he has such good dynamic poses and stuff, and just enough lines to show musculature and things. And this is actually, because this is early on, he uses a lot more lines in his work. Like Hellboy has a lot more going on. So he's got like defined six-pack, he's got chest hairs and more wrinkles and details in his face and stuff. So this is quite early on, which is, brilliant, great. That's fucking cool. This is actually really good. A really good example of Hellboy being this weird creature in the world, but he fits into like the other side. He fits into the folklore side of the world. So this woman, who's this stranger? Quixote, Lancelot, or maybe de Bergerac toppled from the moon. And he's like, nah, it's only me. And she's like, oh, no matter, you're welcome. Will you stay a while? And he's like, sure, whatever. So she's like expecting, some mythical, not being, but like a valiant man or something, someone, from Tales of Yore. And it's Hellboy. And he's like, no, it's just me. It's the big red guy. And she's like, oh, well, that'll do too. That's cool. Like, that's a really nice, it shows where Hellboy, he's out of place, but then he has this whole side where he fits in. Mouse. That's cool. Just good, man. Good. But I know the younger Ewan sees shit like this and he's like, what the that's fucking stupid. And then I grow up and I actually start drawing my own comics and I'm like, that's actually really good. I mean, I don't know how good it is, but it's perfect for what he's doing, It doesn't need to be perfectly rendered people. It's like shape of Hellboy, shape of vicar or whatever, minister guy. And then you get bits like that. So I love the contrast. You have really like solemn, contemplative bits where, they're in a graveyard talking and it's whatever, quiet, watching the house burn. And then turn a few pages. Oh, there you go again. Sunrise, I guess that is. Really, really nice architecture. Perfect, like the background is coloured, the midground is all basically in shadow, and the foreground, there's the red Hellboy. That's really, really nicely done. And then you get pages like this, with some huge fucking demon from the nether. I guess is that Satan or Beelzebub or whatever? The chained coffin. That's a thing. I think that's Hellboy's mum. Yeah, that's Hellboy's dad and his mum. That's quite neat, isn't it? So that's one of the earliest ones. And this is one of the last ones, The Descent, Hellboy in Hell. And you can see almost straight away, like, he's everything's more refined. So he's using less lines and more basic shapes to make up Hellboy and everything else to show what's necessary. Also, this is a really good bit. So he's fallen into hell. He's had his heart pulled out and he falls down into the mouth of this screaming stone demon into hell, basically. Wakes up, it's all dark. There's obviously like sea monsters and bugs and stuff you can just about see. And then this guy shows up, casts some spell, there's a bright flash, and you see all the fucking huge monsters around Hellboy. That are all perfectly pulled out in just enough shadow and line and light. But this is heading towards the end of it all. Hellboy in hell. I think hell is like, I can't remember exactly, but hell is like dying. I've actually read this one. That's quite a turn for the books, isn't it? Hell is dying. Everyone's fleeing hell. All the big leaders of hell are dead and dying, and Hellboy can theoretically come and take it over as the new king of it all. But there's lots of Hellboy just sort of walking around. He's in this, town, this village, like an old English-looking village, Victorian era. Again, really, really nicely drawn. Almost like basic illustration sort of terms in drawing, but with the use of shadows and stuff, it feels clunky, which is really, really good. Because it's, you can get straight lines and draw houses and stuff, but that actually has like a feeling of weight and a story to it. And yeah, he chills with this guy talking about where he's come from, where he's going. And it's all quiet and it's just stories and things. While hell is dying. And then I think it's the perfect, well, these pencil sketches are really, really nice. Designs for things. These demon statues and stuff, man. More statues. Good stuff. Leviathan. I think he's in there somewhere. I maybe missed him. And then these leading up to this is literally the last Hellboy comic. Mignola finished the story, which I think is great. It's not like Spider-Man or something where it just goes on and on and on and on. Got 20 plus years out of it. And he ended it. He actually had a finale. And the art is very much a lot more sort of graphic looking. Because like I say, it's more boiled down to its essence a bit more graphic, less lines, less detail. But that's where it's good, because it's more about the design and the composition and the colour, using that to build atmosphere rather than worrying about every little detail, which is sort of unnecessary. I guess that's Leviathan. In hell. You get a perfect idea of the atmosphere, partly because of the colour, which again is used to like maximum effect or whatever. Coming up out of the sea, and then all the fire. I think that's when, like, Hellboy, I guess he's going to become, or is set to become, the rightful king. He's got his horns and wings. A bunch of other shit happening in between, but whatever. And then, I guess, yeah, he kills, or the imps kill Beelzebub or Satan or whatever. They tear him apart. And then that's it. He's there, crack, that's pulling his horns off, and then nothing. What does it mean? For us, it means the end. And that's it. Hellboy walks off across the rubble, into the town, past statues, seagulls overhead, across the beach, the ghouls watching on. Oh, this is really nice. That's obviously like the seafront. I don't know if it's a gallows or just wood holding up the cage with the skeleton in it. These shapes, and then you see on closer inspection, they're like skeletal figures watching him. The seagulls, the one panel with the gull. To the house. If that's his old childhood home, I think. I'm not sure, something like that. Very dark and solemn up the shadowy staircase. And then like this has like links to some other origin shit which I'm not entirely keyed in on. And then it's got the words from the first ever Hellboy when he first came out, and they were saying, "Shoot it, shoot it, shoot it, kill it. It's a demon come from hell to destroy us all. No, like a little boy, Hellboy." And that's the end. Sexy, sexy boys. And a whole lot of hell. No. And good drawings too, so that's a bonus.